I called off my wedding after discovering my fiancé cheated with a stripper at his bachelor party. 6 months later, I run into him and give him the shock of his life. I, F29, was engaged to Ryan, M31, for the past year. We had been together for 5 years before that. I met Ryan when I was on a business trip to Seattle. It was my first time there, and I was excited to explore the city. One rainy afternoon, I ducked into a small bookstore to escape the downpour. That's where I saw Ryan, engrossed in a book about classic cars. We struck up a conversation about our favorite authors and his passion for vintage automobiles. I was immediately drawn to his charm and wit. Ryan came from a modest background. His father left when he was young, leaving his mother Linda to raise him alone. Linda struggled financially, often working multiple jobs to make ends meet. Ryan told me stories of how they sometimes had to choose between paying rent and buying groceries. This difficult upbringing made Ryan determined to succeed in life, but it also left him with deep-seated insecurities. I, on the other hand, grew up in a wealthy family in Boston. My parents provided me and my younger brother with everything we needed and more. I have a well-paying job as a marketing executive and own my home outright. When I started dating Ryan, I was happy to treat him to experiences he missed out on as a child. We went on luxurious vacations, attended fancy events, and I bought him gifts like rare car parts for the vintage Mustang he was restoring. Our relationship was great for the most part. Ryan was kind, funny, and supportive of my dreams. He would surprise me with homemade dinners after long days at work and always remembered little details about my likes and dislikes. However, there was always tension with his mother, Linda. She never seemed to warm up to me, often giving me cold looks or ignoring me completely when we visited. Ryan would brush it off, saying she was just protective of him. I tried hard to win Linda over. I'd bring her favorite pastries when we visited and offered to help her with household chores. Once, I even organized a surprise birthday party for her, inviting all her friends and coworkers. But nothing seemed to thaw her icy demeanor towards me. It was a constant source of stress in our relationship. Last Christmas, my family decided not to have our usual big celebration as we were mourning the loss of my grandparents. They had been the heart of our family gatherings, always hosting elaborate dinners and organizing fun games for all the cousins. Without them, it just didn't feel right to celebrate as we usually did. I suggested to Ryan that we spend Christmas with his mother instead. To my surprise, he became defensive and insisted we keep our celebrations separate. He claimed that Linda preferred quiet holidays and wouldn't want the intrusion. I was hurt but respected his decision, thinking maybe he just needed time alone with his mom. On Christmas Day, I stayed home alone while Ryan went to his mother's. I spent the day in my pajamas, watching old movies and video chatting with my family. When Ryan came home that night, he seemed oddly distant and went to bed early, claiming he was tired from all the holiday food. A week later, an old college friend reached out asking if Ryan and I had broken up. Confused, I asked why she would think that. She sent me a picture from social media of Ryan with his arm around a woman I'd never seen before, taken in what looked like Linda's kitchen on Christmas Day. The woman was pretty, with long blonde hair and a dazzling smile. They looked cozy together, and I felt a knot form in my stomach. When I confronted Ryan, he claimed she was just a childhood friend named Amber who his mother had invited without telling him. He got angry when I pressed for more information, accusing me of being childish and immature for making a big deal out of an innocent photo. The next day, he showed me that he had blocked Amber on social media to make me feel better. I tried to let it go, but something felt off about the whole situation. As our wedding approached, we planned separate bachelorette parties. I went on a spa weekend with my friends to a fancy resort in the mountains. We had a great time getting massages, doing yoga, and catching up over wine. Meanwhile, Ryan went to Las Vegas with some coworkers and my brother, who I asked to keep an eye on things since Ryan doesn't have many close friends. The morning after the parties, I woke up feeling refreshed from my relaxing weekend. But as I checked my phone, I saw a flood of messages from my brother. My heart sank as I opened them. He had sent videos of Ryan at a strip club, getting handsy with the dancers and making crude comments. In one particularly painful video, Ryan told his best man that if it weren't for my money, he would have left my plain-looking vanilla ass a long time ago. My brother also caught Ryan passed out naked with a stripper in their hotel room the next morning. I was devastated. The Ryan in those videos was so different from the man I thought I knew. When I confronted him after he got home, he got angry that my brother had recorded him without permission. He tried to brush off his comments as drunk talk and insisted sleeping with a stripper was just a bachelor party tradition. He begged me not to throw away our relationship over one mistake. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't just about the bachelor party. It was about the lies, the disrespect, and the realization that maybe I never really knew Ryan at all. I packed a bag and went to stay with my parents, needing space to think. Over the next few days, Ryan bombarded me with calls and texts. He swung between apologizing profusely and getting angry that I was overreacting. Linda even called me, telling me I was being selfish and that boys will be boys. It was all too much. I've been staying with my parents for a week now. Ryan has been apologizing constantly, sending flowers to my office and leaving long voicemails about how much he loves me. But I don't know if I can ever trust him again. The cruel things he said about me keep replaying in my head. My family says the decision is up to me, but I can tell they're furious with Ryan. My brother feels guilty for showing me the videos, but I told him he did the right thing. I'd rather know the truth, no matter how painful. I've poured 5 years of my life into this relationship. We've built a life together, made future plans. The thought of throwing it all away is heartbreaking. But every time I consider giving Ryan another chance, I remember the look on his face in that video as he laughed about using me for my money. Ada, if I call off the wedding, Ryan insists it was a one-time mistake, but I feel like I can't trust anything he says anymore. Am I throwing away a good relationship over one drunken night? Or am I finally seeing Ryan for who he really is? Update 1. Thank you all for your supportive comments. They really helped open my eyes to the truth about Ryan and gave me the strength to make a difficult decision. I decided to end things with Ryan for good. When I told him it was over, he broke down crying and begging for another chance. He swore up and down that he had never cheated before and would do anything to make it up to me. He promised to go to couples counseling, to stop drinking, to cut ties with his bad influence friends. For a moment, I almost wavered. But then I remembered the cruel things he said about me in that video, and I knew I could never unhear those words. To my shock, Linda started blowing up my phone after I broke things off with Ryan. She left angry voicemails calling me selfish and heartless for throwing away a good man over one drunken mistake. She even showed up at my work, causing a scene in the lobby until security escorted her out. It was surreal to see her suddenly so invested in our relationship when she could barely look at me before. Ryan's best man, Jake, reached out to explain what really happened at the bachelor party. He claimed they were all super drunk and the stripper thing was just a misunderstanding. Apparently, Ryan passed out and the stripper was just taking care of him. He said I was blowing everything out of proportion and ruining Ryan's life over nothing. It was clear they were all trying to gaslight me into doubting what I had seen with my own eyes. I've blocked them all now. It hurts to realize how little respect Ryan actually had for me all along. I keep thinking back on our relationship and wondering how much of it was real. Did he ever truly love me? Or was I just a meal ticket to him? All those times he surprised me with thoughtful gifts or supported me through work stress. Was any of it genuine? My friends and family have been incredibly supportive. My brother helped me move all of Ryan's things out of my house while he was at work one day. We changed the locks and set up a new security system, just in case. My sister helped me cancel all the wedding arrangements. Most vendors were understanding once I explained the situation. We're donating the flowers to a local nursing home and the catering deposit to a homeless shelter. Dealing with all the logistics of untangling our lives has been overwhelming. We had joint bank accounts, shared credit cards, even a timeshare we bought together last year. I've spent hours on the phone with lawyers and financial advisors, trying to protect myself and my assets. It's been a harsh wake-up call about how vulnerable I had made myself financially in this relationship. I'm trying to focus on myself now. I've thrown myself into work, taking on extra projects to keep my mind occupied. On weekends, I started volunteering at an animal shelter. It's been therapeutic to help those sweet animals who have also been abandoned. My brother even adopted one of the dogs I bonded with, a goofy lab mix named Charlie, so I get to see him often. Some days are harder than others. I still catch myself reaching for my phone to text Ryan about something funny that happened at work. Or I'll see couples walking hand in hand and feel a pang of loneliness. But then I remember how easily he betrayed my trust, and I know I made the right choice. I've started seeing a therapist to work through all the emotions from this experience. She's helping me recognize patterns in my relationship with Ryan that weren't healthy, like how I always paid for everything, or how he would make subtle digs at my appearance. I'm learning to value myself and set better boundaries. My friends have been amazing, rallying around me and keeping me distracted. We've had girls' nights, weekend trips, and even a divorce party where we burned old photos of Ryan and made vision boards for our futures. It feels good to laugh again and remember who I am outside of that relationship. I know I have a long road ahead of healing and rebuilding my life, but for the first time in weeks, I'm starting to feel hopeful about the future. I deserve someone who truly values and respects me, not someone who sees me as a bank account with a plain-looking vanilla ass. I'm taking this time to rediscover myself and figure out what I really want in life and in a partner. Update 2. It's been about 2 months since I called off the wedding. I wanted to give another update on how things have been going. Ryan finally stopped trying to contact me after I threatened to get a restraining order. However, Linda has stepped up her harassment campaign. She's been spreading lies about me to anyone who will listen, including calling my boss to claim I stole from Ryan. Thankfully, my boss knows the real story and has been very supportive. We're documenting everything in case we need to take legal action. I ran into Jake, Ryan's best man, at a coffee shop last week. He tried to guilt-trip me, saying Ryan was depressed and drinking heavily since I left him. He even implied it would be my fault if Ryan did something drastic. I told him that Ryan's mental health was not my responsibility anymore, and he should seek professional help if he's struggling. It was hard not to feel manipulated, but I stood my ground. On a more positive note, I've started reconnecting with old friends I had drifted away from during my relationship with Ryan. I realized he had slowly isolated me from a lot of people over the years, always finding excuses for why we couldn't attend gatherings or meet up with my friends. It's been wonderful catching up and rebuilding those friendships. Last weekend, my college roommate visited, and we had a blast exploring the city like we used to, trying new restaurants and checking out art galleries. I also decided to take a solo trip to Paris, something I've always wanted to do, but Ryan was never interested in. He always said it was too cliche and expensive, preferring beach vacations where he could ogle women in bikinis, a red flag I chose to ignore at the time. It was incredibly empowering to explore the city on my own terms. I visited museums, took a cooking class, and spent hours people watching at charming cafes. I even went on a day trip to Giverny to see Monet's gardens, fulfilling a lifelong dream. The trip helped me rediscover parts of myself I had neglected during my relationship with Ryan. I used to love art and photography, but I had put those hobbies aside to focus on his interests. In Paris, I bought a new camera and rekindled my passion for capturing beautiful moments. I've even started an Instagram account to share my photos, something Ryan always discouraged because he thought social media was childish. My family threw me a welcome home party when I got back, complete with a cake that said, "Congrats on ditching the loser." It was silly, but it meant so much to have their unwavering support. My brother gave a toast about how proud he was of me for standing up for myself. It made me realize how much I had dimmed my own light to accommodate Ryan's insecurities. I'm not ready to date again yet, but I'm slowly starting to feel more like myself. I'm focusing on my own goals and dreams without having to consider Ryan's wants and needs. It's liberating to make decisions based solely on what I want for my life. I've signed up for a photography class, and I'm considering going back to school for my MBA, something Ryan always discouraged because he said it would take too much time away from him. This experience has taught me a lot about self-worth and the importance of trusting my instincts. There were so many red flags with Ryan that I chose to ignore or explain away. I'm learning to listen to that little voice inside that says when something isn't right. I'm also learning to value myself and not settle for less than I deserve in a relationship. Update 3. It's been 6 months since I called off my wedding to Ryan. Life has settled into a new normal, and I wanted to share a final update. I ran into Ryan at a mutual friend's birthday party last week. It was awkward at first, but we managed to have a civil conversation. He looked rough and admitted he had been struggling. He apologized again for his behavior and said he was getting counseling to work on his issues. While I appreciated the apology, I made it clear that we would never get back together. Seeing him only reinforced that I had made the right decision. Linda finally stopped harassing me after I had my lawyer send her a cease and desist letter. It's a relief not to have to deal with her drama anymore. I later found out from a mutual acquaintance that she had been hoping Ryan and I would get married so she could move in with us and quit her job. It explained a lot about her sudden interest in our relationship towards the end. On a happier note, I've been promoted at work to senior marketing director. I'm loving my new role and the challenges it brings. My boss said that the grace and professionalism I showed during the whole wedding cancellation drama proved I had the leadership skills they were looking for. It feels good to be recognized for my hard work. I've also started taking art classes in the evenings, rediscovering a passion I had put aside years ago. I'm not great at it yet, but I'm enjoying the process of learning and creating. It's therapeutic to lose myself in painting for a few hours each week. My brother set me up on a blind date with his coworker last month. While there wasn't a romantic spark, we've become good friends. We meet up for coffee regularly, and he's introduced me to his group of friends. It's nice to expand my social circle and connect with new people without the pressure of a relationship. I've been continuing my therapy sessions, working through the lingering trust issues from my relationship with Ryan. It's been eye-opening to examine patterns in my past relationships and identify what I truly want in a partner. I'm learning to value emotional intelligence and kindness over superficial qualities. My volunteer work at the animal shelter has become a big part of my life. I recently fostered a litter of kittens and helped them all find loving homes. It's been healing to nurture these little creatures and see them thrive. I'm considering adopting a cat of my own soon. I've learned so much about myself through this experience. I'm stronger than I ever knew and capable of standing up for myself. I'm grateful for the support of my family and friends who helped me through the darkest times. They showed me what true love and respect look like. While I'm not actively looking for a relationship, I'm open to the possibility of finding love again someday. For now, I'm enjoying my independence and focusing on building the life I want for myself. I'm traveling more, trying new hobbies, and spending quality time with the people who truly care about me. Looking back, I can see how much I've grown since calling off the wedding. It was a painful experience, but it led me to rediscover myself and my worth. I'm excited about the future and all the possibilities it holds. Life may not have turned out how I planned, but I'm realizing that sometimes the unexpected paths lead to the best destinations.